I really enjoy making maple syrup because it's nice to have really good maple syrup. It makes the food a lot better. But it's also much more than that. It's just a lot of fun to do. To me, it's just all part of, I mean, it sounds stupid hooking into nature, but it's all part of being outside, and it's just really interesting. It's really fun. I guess if I didn't like it so much, I wouldn't want to make it so much. It's kind of a marginal time of the year, and if you didn't have something grabbing you, taking you outside, you might not get out there. But if you have an excuse to be out there, it's fantastic. You want to keep the drill just about level. Some people do it a little bit up, some people do it a little bit down. It's hard to know what the exact best way to do it is. And then just stick it in and turn. You'll see the nice clean wood come out almost immediately. There we go. Perfect. Pull it out so you bring all the pulpwood with you. Here we go. Look at that. Holy cow. That's interesting. Wow, this is great. Fit the tap in and give it a tap or two. You don't want to do it too hard or you'll split the wood. This guy's a gusher. This is perfect. And then you just pop the bucket on, and at this rate, this bucket's going to be probably, if this were early morning, this bucket would be full by afternoon. I'd be worried about it overflowing at this rate. So on a really nice day, you can get a good 2-gallon bucket worth of sap for collecting by afternoon. My brother lived in Newton, Mass, and there was a neighbor of his who had these 3 really big old sugar maples. And so they took a couple taps and they put them out on the trees, and they hung plastic milk jugs underneath there. And then all of a sudden the sap flow started, and so he started boiling it on his stove. And next thing you know, like 3 or 4 days later, I get this frantic call. He's going, "Rich, how do you turn those taps off?" It was so funny. He was just completely overwhelmed. He was boiling for like 4 hours every night on his stove. And you need to be really careful when you boil sap in your kitchen, because the amount of moisture it produces, it'll take your wallpaper off in a second. Gloves once. The first time we bought this thing, I used them once, and I was lucky it didn't burn right through the gloves. They were heavy, thick work gloves, and this is just way too hot. Burns it right up. This whole door will get to a point where it's completely red, and just touching it with a piece of the stick will come very close to bursting into flame. No glove will protect you from that. So we just use a nice long stick. This stick actually is about 3 years old. We're trying to see how long we can use it without sticking it in the fire by mistake. This is a pretty good rig. It's just about set perfectly for us. We have about 100 taps. It gives us enough sap to run this thing just about every couple days, so that we're not storing our sap for too long. And at the same time, it's balanced enough so that we're not overrun with sap, and we don't have to boil for 10 or 12 or 18 hours at a time. This is a great system. One of the reasons it's really nice in terms of flavor is that the wood-fired aspect of it contributes a lot to the flavor. You can do it with oil, you can do it with propane, but it's not the same. I'm watching the temperature on the thermometer here in this last section of the front pan. And the way the thermometer works is this is the level at which water boils, and this is the level at which syrup boils. And because the density of the liquid changes as the sugar content rises, as you evaporate more of that water, you can tell pretty much almost exactly what the right level of when your syrup is ready based on what the temperature is when it boils. This is the most critical tool we have in the process at this point. It tells you exactly when to draw more syrup. It's all based upon gravity. It's all based upon simply boiling away the moisture. The fresh sap comes in at this point, travels along like this through a convoluted path until finally the most concentrated stuff is right here, and we draw it off the syrup. One of the other really nice things about this is it can be pretty nasty outside. It can be in the 20s at night with a bit of a breeze, and you close up this whole sugar house so that not much air is getting in there, and you're in a steam bath. And the place is just filled with this incredible steam that smells like the best thing you've ever smelled. It's incredible. It's very nice. The first time we really fired up this evaporator, there were 3 of us, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we'd been firing up most of the night. We'd had a few beers apiece, and we were just throwing wood in there. And this was wood that was left over from the previous year, stacked in the sugar house, so it was completely 100% dry. It was all pine, and it was just burning like it was paper. There we go. That's hot. That is the definition of hot. And all of a sudden, the whole building started to shake, and the evaporator started to shake, and the ground started to shake, and the stack turned completely red, almost translucent. And we jumped out of the sugar house, and we backed off a little bit, and we looked up, and there was this, it was as if it was a rocket. It was, these flames were coming out of the stack, 5 feet in the air above the stack. It's one of the most amazing things we had ever seen. And we ran back in. We were trying to figure out how to get this thing to shut off. And we finally figured out that what was happening was there wasn't enough air, so the smoke was being drawn up into the chimney, and was actually, part of it was combusting in the chimney and continuing to combust all the way up the chimney and out into the air up above. It was the most incredible thing you've ever seen in all your life. Just like you put a rocket right there. And the sound and the vibration was amazing. And it really boiled while we were doing that. It was really boiling. That's one of the best boils we've had. So that's kind of one of our goals once a season, is to put that stack on fire. And I talked to a lot of old timers, and they said, yeah, it's a great thing to do, just make sure you don't burn the building down. Sugar and's hard work. This is great. Just being able to get out and enjoy the springtime in these first couple days that are 40, 50 degrees is fantastic. What a gift. Most of the time, this time of year you don't get outside enough. And one of the things that sugaring does is it forces you to get outside and it forces you to collect the sap at least once a day. And it hooks you in with nature and the environment. And Anne does a lot of the collecting because she really likes that. But for me, the boiling is really, this is where it's at, the fun of sugaring. You know, you can be out here with a bunch of friends and stuff and doing stuff, or you can just be out here alone at 1 o'clock in the morning keeping this rig going, and it's just like clockwork. It's really very, very enjoyable.